All right. Well, thank you, Brandon, for being here today in my studio.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
For all the listeners out here right now, we're here today to talk about your newest single, Deep Dark Secrets.
Yes. Thank you for having me, and thank you for helping me create Deep Dark Secrets.
Yes, that was a really fun project. Obviously, if some of you guys don't know, me and Brandon worked together on this song. We both, I mixed it, recorded it, tracked it, mastered it, and now it's all out on all platforms right now. So I know that you're very excited about this, but I'm also very excited about this because it was a process together. We went through this journey together, and I think at the end of it. It really, I think it's really going to make a lasting impression, as a new song, as your new song. I think it's going to make that. So, can you tell me a little bit about the process about this song and like kind of the inspiration behind it and like the thought process of doing? Because I know when people listen to it, it's a very intimate song. It's a very personal song. So I would love to kind of hear your process about how you kind of created that.
Well, the story kind of behind it is like you have somebody special in your life, whether it be friend or whoever, but somebody special in your life that you have these deep, dark secrets, right? And they're kind of your skeletons in your closet that you take to your grave. Everybody's got them. So it's kind of finding this connection with somebody and you're like, man, like if I tell you all these things about me, because I really feel like I can, and I trust you in that way, can I trust that you'll keep these safe for me? And, it's about building this intimate kind of mutual safe space with somebody. So for me, I found that rare connection with somebody and I felt like, okay, I can write about it. And it was almost like I didn't even feel like sitting down and writing about it. It just kind of hit me. And I was like, man, I was literally sitting in my jacuzzi at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just chilling. And then I was like, and I was humming this melody like all day, just one day. And by that night, I was like, I had a hook. I was like, if I tell you all my deep, dark secrets. And I was like, okay, wait. Yeah, this needs to be a song. It gives me like Usher vibes. Let me build on that because like I grew up very inspired by Usher.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's see what I can create out of this, and that's how it kind of started.
That's awesome, actually. So just like kind of like out of that kind of turmoil of your own life, you kind of breathe this inspiration, bring this like. I also want to kind of talk about it too because I feel like when you do write songs, particularly this one, I feel it's more like therapeutic.
For sure. Like every single song I release is like kind of a diary entry. Usually I'm just being real about it. I'm going through a lot and then I sit at my piano, my out of tune, upright piano in my mom's living room, and I just start playing, and whatever chords come out, I just start kind of things you'd write out in a diary, like on a page, they come out of my mouth, but with a melody attached to it. And then if I don't like the melody, I'll just switch it up in that moment. And I have this probably 10-minute long audio recording on my phone that ends up being, I take pieces of it and I'm like, this is a song, period. And I just kind of structure it from there.
Oh, that's awesome, actually. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's just like just an idea and then it becomes a reality. Like first you get on your phone, and then you kind of flush out all the melodies and the chord progressions, right? And then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I feel like it started out as like this kind of how do you say? It naturally would hit me, but now I'm to the point where this has been my process for a few years now, since I've gotten a little bit stronger at songwriting, and I feel like now I can kind of replicate it on the fly. But I used to just have to go through it in life and then get to that point. Right. But yeah, now I feel like it's a lot more natural.
I like that. Yeah, it's I could definitely, when it comes to hearing, it's very organic, right? It's a very organic process for you, right? Creating songs like that. So for the listeners that just kind of stumble onto your music, right? For this song, like what's different about this song than your prior songs?
Well, this one is a lot more upbeat than the ones that you've heard previously, which were My Mind and Grown. My Mind was a lot more about like literally my mental health issues and things that I felt, in a dark place. Grown was just about, some kind of much younger version of me going through like some immature relationship like kind of issues. But this one is just a lot more intimate, a lot more relatable, I think. And the vocals on it are just probably the best vocals I've ever put out thus far.
It does sound pretty good, actually.
Thank you.
It does sound pretty good.
Thank you.
So for this particular song, I know you have worked with a producer, right? Yeah. So have you worked in producers in the past for your other previous work, or is this like your first time, or like more about
so
that?
my other works were also with different producers. I worked with a good friend, Jay Teresi. He's like has a home studio, and it's kind of more of a hobby for him, but he's a really, really good producer. So him and I did Grown, and that experience was really cool. It was my first time kind of sitting down with somebody else, and really with a producer, you have to get, comfortable and close
100%.
enough to let them hear all your mistakes and like kind of show them your process and let them in. So I think it was really cool that's one of my dad's best friends. So it was my way of kind of taking off the training wheels and like, okay, this is like what this process looks like. I'd never really worked with a producer, let alone on an original.
Okay.
And then My Mind, I worked with a producer. His name is Chang Kang. He's a really awesome producer as well. I only worked with him on the one song, My Mind. And I felt like comfortable with him to work as well. It was just kind of the song was so down that I felt very down recording it. So I felt like I was a little bit more quiet in those sessions.
Yeah.
But definitely he did a really good job bringing that one to life as well. So then meeting you, it was really cool to we just organically met through mutual friends of the band I'm in, Junction Point. So it was cool to kind of really open up with you. I mean, come on, I was sitting here crying in your studio a couple times.
Yeah, that did happen. Sometimes sessions can get really emotional for sure, and that was one of the times where it got really emotional. But for producers, you gotta exploit the emotions sometimes of the artist just to get the best take. And I think when you really the song comes from a good place.
Yeah,
it comes from it's not put on. It's something that you lived it, right? And also too, it's just your songwriting for me is very straightforward, personal. There's no filler. You know what I mean? It's whatever you hear is what you get. You know what I mean? And for you as a person, I think that's the same way. What you see is what you get with Brandon. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So I think for the song for Deep Dark Secrets, that process was just like that. It was just straightforward. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. I also want to talk about a little bit of the process of producing this song, the instrumentation. I know when I first started working with you, you sent me a demo of it.
Yeah.
And and now it sounds nothing like the demo, right? Which sometimes it obviously happens, right?
Yeah.
But I want you kind of talk to me about the process about that. When you first created it, from the demo to now the final product.
Sure. So the demo, I mean, I just played on my Logic on my computer, just kind of played electric piano. The piano part, the dun, 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 that kind of beat, I started kind of playing with on piano. That's kind of what immediately was the first kind of piano part that came to mind when I kind of wrote out the melody to this. And so I just was sat in my room for probably 3 hours and created a rough demo of what I'd want. And layered harmonies, that's what I spent the most time on with that demo, was just where do I want these vocals? How extra do I want to be? Because I can be very extra with it, but I'm proud of it. It's fine. It's fine. I love stacking vocals. You know this.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think I just went along with whatever came to me in those moments, and I didn't really know a beat idea. I really didn't. And so I'm glad you threw in some trappy aspects and things in it. I'm okay, wait.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, shout out to Josh Warren. We called my good friend Josh.
Warren.
We were sitting here and I was I think it needs guitar. He's I don't know, maybe I don't know. And I'm electric guitar. I think so. Let's call Josh real quick. Josh came within 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
10 minutes to call them?
He showed up and slayed the part. Literally, I was just I think I want you to play something similar to the melody, but take the reins. And he absolutely killed it. So
speaking of a guitar, I know when we were when I was tracking the guitar, it sounded great. Josh did a great job. So if anybody needs a guitar player in OC, Josh Warren's your guy.
Josh Warren,
phenomenal. Shout out. Shameless plug, whatever. But I remember when we were recording it, it's it sounded so great. But then I remember after we got done recording it, I was okay, how's it gonna fit in this song?
Right.
So I was struggling. I remember, and any guys that does producing or mixing knows when you have an idea and you're okay, trying to you have an idea what you want to do, but you know if it's gonna work, and you don't know if the artist is gonna like it or not. That's always oh my god, right? I might lose my job.
No.
So that's when I thought about for Josh, because I was I can't seem to get the guitar the way I want it or fit into the song, and so I kind of threw a Hail Mary. So I kind of I went on a preset for Sound Toys. Shout out to Sound Toys, by the way, that great plug-in manufacturer. I picked a preset It was like funk something. I forgot what it was.
Of all things.
So I was like,
good.
okay, let's play it. And I played it, and instantly I was like, this is the sound I've been looking for. So that's always kind of a fun little process, like trying to figure out, get the process of like getting the sound that you want, and also like making sure the artist loves what you're doing. I know that was a bit stress for me, but at the end of the day, you know, that guitar like makes a song. It's brilliant.
Yes, and I remember the day I came in here and you were like, oh, like I'm gonna press play, but like, oh, if you don't like it, like just tell me. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
just do it. I swear it brought it to life, like completely. Josh's guitar playing, the effects that you put on it, like everything. I'm just like, wow, like it pulled the vibe together, and I couldn't like not move my body when I was listening along. It was like cool,
100%.
and like
yeah.
to know that it was my song, I was like what the heck, like this is not real. Like for a minute there, we listened to it like a few times over, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I cannot wait for people to hear this.
No, it was a good process, man, but I was definitely like, you know, sweating bullets at that session. I'm like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Luckily, he liked it, guys. So, yeah, no, honestly, and then I want to talk a little bit more about the process, a little bit more about making this song. So in this song in particular, there's a lot of harmonies.
A lot of harmonies.
So like, what is your thought process when it comes to like stacking vocals, when it comes to harmonizing with yourself? Is there like a, you know, do you like kind of like throw everything in the kitchen sink in when it comes to the song, or do you like pull back when it needs to be? Like, what's your thought process behind like stacking vocal harmonies and whatnot? Well,
I am like such a choir kid at heart, and I feel like, you know, growing up in choirs and singing in them tons, I feel like I hear harmonies on everything. Like literally, I was the kid, like, you know, in class when the chairs would scoot, I'd like listen for chords when the notes would screech up from their chairs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. So chords are in my brain constantly. And every time I hear a melody, like of any kind of vocal, I'm like, what kinds of, you know, layers can we add here? What kinds of like counter melodies can we put underneath? And like, so it's just, I let my brain go. And a big inspiration of that for me is Brandy, Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande.
Yeah, there you go.
Like these singers all just let their brains take the reign and didn't think twice about it. And they always knew like they could just pull whatever that didn't work out. But for the most part, it's like ear candy. They just keep stacking. And then they're like, whoa. And I don't know, it ends up being this wave of like, I don't know, harmonies is what lights me up when I listen to music. So being able to replicate that and getting better at it, I'm still growing into that, but and I always will be, I believe. But just being able to kind of put that inspiration that I've taken into my own music, it's like, it's cool to hear it all pull together. I remember actually the high notes in Deep Dark Secrets.
Okay, yeah.
When I kind of go up at the end in like high falsetto to it's like a high C. Anyway, I'm really nerdy about this stuff. Okay, guys. Yeah. But like he said, you get what you get. I remember like we were hesitant. Remember you were like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just because we can, I don't know if we should. I'm like, I know. I don't know. But I was like, you know what? I don't know. I just feel it in my gut. Let's just do it. Let's just see what happens.
That's my favorite like that's my phrase, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But that's, you know, sometimes like, you know, when the artist feels it, you just go with it. You know what I mean?
There's my extra ass. It's like, you know what?
We gotta do it.
Let's do it. I'm like, let's just put it all. And now that to be said, sometimes there is a way that things can get muddy, right? But I feel like just because I'm such a music theory nerd, I like kind of try to hear what exact notes, what scale degrees, what chord am I building, and try to, you know, find a good resolution with that chord so that things, you know, as crunchy as they can get, resolve. And it feels final, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, that big tangent about harmonies, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. That's kind of the backstory of like, most of my music is going to be layered like that.
Nice.
Like My Mind, my single, as we spoke about earlier, was the only one I feel I didn't really layer much. I literally just had like some ooze floating in the background just because it's such a sad mental health song.
Right.
That one didn't require that. So again, that's what I love. Something you say is whatever's going to do the song justice, and I think that does hold true. But for Deep Dark Secrets, it was a very extra moment.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I actually the harmony's really great. I think, you know, stacking, you do a really good job at that.
Thank you.
And like, you know, music theory is off the chart. FYI, everybody, I don't know a lot of music theory. I don't know if engineers know music theory, but I certainly don't. So I rely on my singers to do that for me. So shout out to all those singers that do that, and I just don't do that. So just FYI. So when it comes to the process of recording, I'm sure you have recorded in some bigger studios. Do you feel like your best work comes from bigger studios, or do you feel like it comes from more like, you know, home studios? Like, can you tell me more about that?
I feel like all of the times that I've ever been behind a recording studio mic, I have learned something new, and that will always hold true for the rest of my life. I feel like there are moments even in my own bedroom where I would sit behind my mic and just kind of literally sing things a cappella and listen back, because recording in a studio is just so different than performing live. They're like two different worlds. So I think that the more that I sit in front of any kind of recording mic, any kind of session work, the better that I get at not only what I can put out with my voice, but just how the little nuances work, like as close or as far as you're standing from the mic, different effects, like as we spoke about a few days ago with like tracking harmonies, there's little tips and tricks behind different ways that you can achieve different sounds.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really learning, because it's not as simple as just standing in front of a mic and singing.
Yeah, 100%. No, yeah, it's when you come to every different studios or different environments, it always changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially the vibe, the feel, right? You might get more inspired. Sometimes you won't be.
Yeah.
That does happen. So Brandon, can you tell me some more about your inspirations? Like, what kind of drives you as a singer? What inspires you as a singer?
So I started singing when I was like 6 years old, and I think like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey were like big inspirations for me, as well as like 80s pop, 90s R&B was like where it was at. Usher, Lauryn Hill, Destiny's Child, all of these artists combined really inspired my sound. And I feel like as I grew up, I had like different phases, right? Like I wanted to belt like Whitney, which like nobody can, but you know what I mean? I wanted to achieve big, powerful vocals, which it was very difficult. And then I joined choir, and that kind of helped me find like more of a sultry, like smooth sound. And then Natalie Weiss, I don't know if you guys probably don't know who she is, but she's an amazing musical theater vocal coach, / just singer in general. She had this show on YouTube called Breaking Down the Riffs, and she would take long vocal melismas or runs, and she would break them down and teach you how to sing them. And so I learned every single video she ever did. And then within my own songs that I would learn are riffs that I wanted to do. I would just obsess over riffs. I would sit there and just like kind of count notes and like figure out how I could sing the cleanest riffs or whatever. So I kind of had my phase with riffs, if you will. So like different elements of my voice kind of developed over the years because of these different singers that were doing the things that I wanted to be doing. Like I said earlier, Brandy, Ariana Grande, their harmonies, their backgrounds in their songs are like unmatched. So all these artists kind of inspired me over the years, and I took to my home, studio, my little studio, my room, and just kind of tried to recreate some of these aspects by covering their songs, or just started singing one line of a song from any song, and then stacking. There's a song by Rihanna, the Where Have You Been? I think it's called Where Have You Been?
So, yeah.
But the Where Have You Been? I never see you around. I take that. I used to take that line, and I don't even know why that song, but I would take that line and just stack it and like see different vocal arrangements that I could create. And then I started doing that with a bunch of songs over the years. So I think all of these things kind of built up little colors in the palette of my voice, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, like a lot of singers, get inspiration from a lot of different singers. You know what I mean? And they try and make it their own. And I think right now, like you did that. You took all that inspiration and you made it your own. And that's something a lot of singers nowadays don't have.
Thank you.
It's real, right? That does happen. But like when it comes to taking time to discover your own voice, it takes a lot of courage to do so, and I think you've done that. So, and especially with this song for Deep Dark Secrets, I think it really like showcases your ability as a songwriter, arranger, vocal stacking god, right? To a certain extent, right? You're very good at this. So I think when people listen to the song, they're really gonna get that, all that stuff right now regarding the great arrangement, songwriting, everything. They're just gonna like get pummeled by this amazing song. So I'm very excited that it's out. I know we worked really hard on it.
Yes.
So I really do thank you for being here, taking your time to be in my studio today on what day is it today? Monday?
Today is a Monday.
So I really do thank you for taking the time. And can you tell the people right now where they can find your music and your social media, all that stuff? Shameless plug, everybody. Here we go.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at @BrandonPaulMusic_, on TikTok at Brandon Paul Music. Also, stream Deep Dark Secrets, My Mind Grown, on all platforms. They're available everywhere. And yeah, also follow me on Threads, because that's where you'll get to read through a lot of my unhinged thoughts, and just like, you know, I'm a lot more free on there.
I've seen the Threads. You're definitely unhinged on that one.
Yes, but other than that, thank you again so much for having me here today. Like,
course.
this was so cool.
Of course. Well, thank you for being here, of course. And like I said, please stream Deep Dark Secrets at all social media platforms, streaming services, all that stuff. Anybody you want to give a shout out today?
Also, Josh. We're going to shout out Josh, because like I said, he slayed that guitar part. If you guys need any bomb guitar, you know, for any of your tracks, go ahead and follow at Warren Guitar 01, like 01. I think that's it. I'll confirm.
I think that is it.
I'll have it down below right here.
Yeah.
But yes, Warren Guitar 01. Hit him up.
Anybody OC, get that guy a
yes,
follow.
and follow Recording by Zack.
Oh,
at
yeah.
Recording by
Thank
Zack
you so
on
much
Instagram.
there. Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Follow me and my socials as well.
Yes.
It'll be the links down below.
And thank you guys so much again. Thank you guys for watching this, and thank you for having me.
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited.
All right. Well, have a good one. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
You are my deep dark secrets. Could I trust that you would really keep it? I'ma tell you all my deep dark secrets. I can tell you